Okay, so let me try this again. We're gonna get into the comparisons between these two Lego or brick built things. These aren't official Legos, by the way. Um, this was an official, well, this was based off of an official Lego build. I don't remember the set number, but it's the one with the that's for Anakin's Jedi Starfighter, this custom one. I think it's called the Azure Blue, the Aethersprite Delta 7 Starfighter, and yeah, for what it was at the time, I guess it was pretty cool. I mean, this is the only time you'll get it in Lego form, and this is I got both of these off of AliExpress, different sellers. There's a bunch of these things on there, and I just found the best price I think I could get, and yeah, and I thought it was worth it. It came with a couple figures, instructions, some decals, and this is going to be kind of a quick kind of overview of this. I'm sure people have seen plenty of reviews of this. This is from several years ago. I think I see 25, probably at least 10 years or more at this point. But you know, for what it was, it's pretty decent. But it's kind of hard to get those unique stripes that come out of from the white stripes that come out from the center. They all fan out from the basically from the astromech unit. And this isn't exactly fan out. It's more like tiger stripes. You can see it's more like these banding across this way with a slight angle. And yeah, and so this came with this, I think it's R4P22. It's R5. I think it's probably R4P22. And the print was upside down. This is, and the dome printing was kind of crooked too. It wasn't even pointing straight. It was like at like an angle. And yeah. So I got rid of that and bought one off of, I think, Rebrickable, and no, Rebrickable, Bricklink. And yeah, so this is the actual one from the original set, I guess, or wherever you could get one of these droids. So that's there. And then this one is still the basically the copied one of Anakin and from the Clone Wars, but he's missing some of the, doesn't exactly have the right coloring. Close, but like the arms, the sleeves should be at least I think like a lighter brown compared to the body. But since this is mostly, he's going to be mostly set inside of a starship anyways, just for display, not a big deal. You see, it's mostly not seen, and I doubt most people will know. I don't know, maybe someday I will replace it, but Lego pieces in brown is tricky, it seems like. At least from the past, from what I've noticed is, and then researching, like looking at anything with brown plastic, maybe it's a particular color, but anyways, they seem to crack rather easily. So I'm kind of wary of getting one. It might be hard to even get one in a good condition that doesn't start to show signs of cracking for whatever reason. So I don't know, I might just skip that if it's not, unless I can be sure to get a good version, but I don't know about that just yet. But yeah, so this is pretty much one-to-one copy of the Lego one, just not with Lego pieces. But you know, I didn't want to spend the money, much like this, on, let's just say, the legit source. But it's close enough. And I think this was like around 20 something dollars, so much cheaper than what you can buy like a set like this for these days. And it was all right. And then when I started looking around on AliExpress more for some other things, mocks, builds and whatnot, came across this guy. And there's several versions of the Azure Angel out there, and I think a lot of those ones on AliExpress are based off of basically copies of well, yeah, they probably took the instructions from Rebrickable, because a lot of people that mod them put them up there for sale, or sometimes free, but mostly to sell. And then you have to source the parts yourself usually and build it up. And I didn't want to do that, and that's why I got this version. It was like also very cheap, like $20-ish, or if not under. And I figured it came with the instructions, all the pieces, or almost. That's the thing with these things. You may not get every single piece that you need. They tend to miss things, and you'd be lucky if you don't, I would say. Most of the time, there's been at least one wrong piece or missing piece or more. Not too badly, but enough where it kind of is like, oh, all right, I guess I got to find replacement parts, which is what I did with this. And I think I shared that in the video of the few pieces that I had to source and get in this one. This one I think was missing a piece somewhere on this side, like a blue, but I had something laying around at home. I wish I was able to, uh, replace or substitute that with. The stickers that came with this were, they work. They seem kind of close looking in color to what I've seen in pictures of the original one, but it's not that good quality. And they seem like, well, they stick, but then if you try to even reset them in some way, if you even if you didn't completely commit to it, they're pretty hard to remove. You can see that's what happened here. Like, I didn't feel like, I think I got that centered or something right, and I think I wanted to try to redo it slightly, and then it kind of messed this part up a bit. And likely that's another reason why I probably, between the two, I'm going to keep this version, and I'll give this to my kids for parts, unless they wanted to keep it like this, but I'll let them have that. But it looked better a little while ago, but I guess it's just a lot of that, you see it's bubbling, and it's actually kind of loose. It's not really sticking down this area. Oh well. It wouldn't be too expensive to buy a replacement from AliExpress, because it's around $20-ish, but I'm not going to even bother because I have this now. And the reason why, well, let me just go over this real quickly. It has shooters, but I don't like to put these are the flick fire, or not flick fire, but they have a spring-loaded action where the long end sticks out, and then you just put a little pressure on it, and it'll release it and shoot forward. And there's 4 of them to kind of match with the 4 cannons. That's how it looks like on the underside. There's a piece I took out which goes through this hole here. It's like a tan-colored axle with a pin, like it's it's flat on one end, so it won't run all the way through. But it's something that sat inside here, and then basically it's to help. If you push it, it'll eject the droid out, or at least make them fly out almost. But what's stupid about the design, I don't understand why they made it, was that when you're not using it, it's just naturally just will hang out about this far out from the bottom, just stick straight out. It's like, that looks so ugly. Why would you do it like that? But apparently that's the way it was designed. Is just this piece that sticks out on the bottom, just for this thing. And I said, nah, I don't like the way that looks, and I'm not going to eject them. So it was pretty easy to omit that piece. Took it out. I think you can basically take it out from under here and just let it drop out once you remove the droid. So that was that. This does have at least one landing gear here that can go up like that, and the rear one is back here, but it's basically set. Not the best look, but it does the job. And here's the trademark, like or one of the key design elements is the extra set of these engines up front. I think it's allow it to go into hyperspace, or if not, just fly faster. It's like it's turbocharged. He just customizes sort of like his own hot rod. Overall this was kind of cool, but whatever this was made, the build technology is kind of a little bit outdated. And I didn't quite find, besides the stripes, I didn't find the shape quite right. This, I don't like that they reused them on all 3. These are okay, but this should have been something else, and it should look more like that. And overall, and this thing actually, look at a review on the actual one, but this is like an escape pod or something. Like this whole section can come out, and I think that's what it is. So the rest of it can blow up. Well, you can safely like kind of eject from there as this unit. And obviously the astromech would probably just eject altogether. It should have thrusters or rockets, and be able to fly its own way. These things here, I think, are storage for other of these, blaster effects. Those little um, laser bolts, I guess. I think they're blue like this, and you can add them down here, or yeah. And then on this side, I think you can. This is maybe for these clips are for like holding Anakin's lightsaber. And yeah, and that's basically it. It's pretty, I would say between the two, this is more, in a way, except for these things can still kind of move a bit. They're not really set in place. They have some, a bit of, movability, but you can angle them to be about like this. Is kind of how it looks like on the show, but again, this overall model isn't necessarily the most accurate, I would say. What else would I say here? Yeah, so I think the shape is not quite right. I feel this section is just too tall up off of here, and this is too low, maybe. I don't know. I'm not used to seeing it. At least if you watch the animated series, which this is the only time you ever see it, and it's based off of, it seems to feel more lower and sleeker, and this seems a little bit bulky and a little bit too tall. But, given there's some Lego and stuff, it's good for time. So we'll take a look at this, and this is, I don't know, I'll try to put the name of the original designer, which I believe the instructions to build this were made available on Rebrickable, but I believe a lot, like a lot of the AliExpress sellers, they take those and then they just kind of package it themselves and try to sell it. And well, it's not the most ethical thing, but really for me, that's the most economical. Just I got the instructions, and then it should come with all the parts, which it didn't. It was missing or had the wrong parts, and I pointed that out in the previous video, like 2 of these blue pieces, and then that was the main thing that was missing. I don't think anything else. But then some of the fitment is okay. Like these actually were like amber or orange, clear, studs like this that would go here. But this should have blue thrust, a blue engine glow. So I took those out and I found some light blue ones that are a better fit. And the way they fit on is friction fit, but you just push them into this piece here, but it didn't really hold, so I had to use a little bit of Elmer's glue, just some white glue, and that does the trick. And I don't need much, and it isn't really permanent. I think if you just put enough pressure, you can pry it off and then just peel off the dried off glue, and it shouldn't be like crazy glue, for instance, like very permanent. What else did I have to do? These, you see, has landing gears, I think, look better than that one. They actually look more like landing gears, at least the rear ones do. It's not just a block that this thing sits on. However, if you want to go into flight mode, they don't just fold up. Unfortunately, they say you actually have to physically remove them, because you can see, at least with this engine up here, it's going to get in the way. It's not going to be able to retract upwards. So that's a little bit of a drawback, but that's fine, because actually I probably will plan to leave this in flight mode, which is, I'll just quickly go into it. I'd say this is what this is for. It's came with a flight stand. It's brick built, obviously, and that's why I didn't understand why this thing came with a bunch of like extra black Technic parts like this, and then they didn't have anything in the instructions. And then it wasn't until I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute, I think that, if I recall seeing pictures of this, it was on a black stand, and that kind of looked like this. So I reviewed the photos, and then I just basically, there were no instructions, but I looked at the few angles that there were, and I deduced just by the few parts that actually are in this, how to assemble this and get it to look and work the way it should, and it does. And this will stick on the bottom of this, and it'll probably put in such a way where it should be, I would have it angled towards you, so you just get a little bit at the top and sort of dynamic. I think you could potentially change the angle of this a bit more to be more straight up by just moving, taking the pins out and removing it and re-angling it and sticking in the appropriate hole to hold it in position. So that was cool. So appreciate that. And I think this will look better in flight mode. The other thing I customized was, besides this, technically it's a custom, but I think because I'm going to decide between these two, I'm going to keep that. I'm going to take that R2, save the body, but move the dome onto here, and then take the Republic logo and stick it onto that spot that's blank right now, and then take Anakin, obviously, and that'll be that. And you can see this, the overall shape I think looks more accurate to what I saw on screen. It looks lower profile, definitely more sleek, and looks more fast because of that. This tail looks more accurate the way this is stylized. And I think the four cannons, if you compare it to that one, you can kind of see. Let me see if I can zoom up. This just look better. I like the color because it's in dark blue, and I think that actually works better and looks a bit closer to the way it was in the show. It wasn't quite this bright blue. However, I will be getting a Plo Koon Jedi Starfighter, the Delta. Like they had two versions. One that's like Revenge of the Sith, where the droid is. They almost look identical, except for a few details. But the droid is situated on the side instead of right in front in the middle. And that's the main difference in the position. And it does come in a dark blue, and of course it doesn't have these canards, I guess you would call them, this wing or flap over these engines, and it definitely won't have these engines. It'll just have the standard two in the back. But it almost will be identical to this, minus quite a few things. The engines, and a bit of that work they release up to the rear. What else? It's going to have a different rear tail. It's not as long. It's going to be a bit shorter. Probably cut off like this, a little bit rounded, if I recall. Again, it won't have these cannons up here. I'll have a set that will be kind of popping up, aiming forward right around here, if I recall. And again, it won't have these extra wing pieces to it. It'll probably be just up to those. That'll be the end. And yeah, and I think that'll be pretty cool. It's on its way, but this time it's been taking a heck of a long time. But the version I got with the one where this has the droid in front, which is what I wanted because it was from the Clone Wars series. I didn't want the Revenge of the Sith one where it was on the side, and that's just before he gets blown up and killed. I wanted the one from the show, and especially like the one that looks like from one of the early episodes of the Clone Wars, where it's the attack on the Malevolence, where he's flying, escort along with a group of Y-wing bombers that are going after Grievous in the Malevolence ship. It's a big super weapon, right? That was a cool, basically 3-part episode. It's a great way to start off season 1, or near the start of it. What else? Oh, and so these engines are made a bit differently. It's a bit finicky to put this together, as you can see, especially the way it attaches up there, up on there, that piece, and it's like that on the other side. And the thing about this that concerns me is the way it's held on. It's just all this stuff on the front is just held on right here. It doesn't secure anywhere else, like along the sides, unlike Anakin's, what would be the Lego version. As you can see, it's held on pretty securely right here on the insides. We don't get that on this version, so definitely I would say because of that, I wouldn't swoosh this around too much. And you can see just the way it's made, it's a bit more delicate to hold on to. You got to be careful where you put pressure and stuff. I mean, overall it's not that loose, but I can see shifting some things out of place where you wouldn't want to. And yeah, but overall, again, I like this overall shape. I think this part actually looks pretty good, I think. And then they managed to, of course, capture like the more fanning out design, which I like. What else? Oh, I customized the engine too. You can see how it's divided into 6. And I looked carefully because I was going to try and mimic this one here, how it's got split. And a lot of the the old toys that they had back then with the Clone Wars had like a division right here too up front between in the middle there's the front of the engines, just like a, I guess it's a splitter or something. And then also I think I had a small like Hot Wheels or something, which it has with the little titanium vehicles they used to have also back then. I had one of this, and I also showed it like that. And yeah, a lot of the stuff that I've seen is shown it like this. But when you look at the animated series, and that's what I was doing. I was like just reviewing it just to compare and get some ideas to make it look closer to screen. I was looking when I was thinking of doing this. It's like, wait, it's not actually like that in the show. It's actually divided just like this into 6 parts. And I've never seen anybody else do it like that. With this mock, it was just left. They just left it black, which would have been fine because these 6 divisions, those lines, are pretty thin, especially if you see it in the show. And so, you know, they wouldn't have showed up that strongly, but I felt compelled to make it look as close to it as possible. So what I did was I had some dark gray. I was trying to find light gray, but I couldn't find the one that matches like this light blue gray color. But I figured it's inset and it's enough contrast anyways against the black of that piece in there, that disc, that it'll still stand out. And I basically cut about 1 millimeter or just under thickness of vinyl, and I just cut it in a long strip, and I just measured out approximately how long I should make it, and then I carefully basically hand placed all of these all around here by hand and by eyesight. I just went one by one, left them, didn't completely set them. I just kind of established my horizontal line because I knew it had to be positioned connected here in a certain way. As you can see, it's up in the upper corner, and then the engines, the way they were divided like this, I had to have this line across the middle, and then the rest would come in an angle. So I had to establish that first, and then I started placing the other ones all around, and then I carefully used the tweezers and moved them around and angled them, and did this all by eye until it looked about even and symmetrical as possible given this method, and I think it turned out pretty good. You don't really see it as being off, and it works. So I'm rather proud of that, and I think that it looks cool. Looks close to the show. Now again, I'm a little worried because the way this is attached, it's just there's nothing holding all this long piece except for right here, and then of course the rest in the back. But this is the larger piece that's just dangling in front. But it's holding well enough, and it doesn't seem to be. It's a pretty firm connection, so I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. And I placed it for several days, and I was measuring the distance between the engine and the surface that's right above to see if it's sagging or dropping down any closer, and it hasn't. It still seems to have maintained the same space very close, but there's still a gap between that and the surface that it's on, so it's holding, so that's fine. Yeah, it's getting kind of long. I just want to, now that we have the two, you can see, yes, this is a bit wider than that because it's instead of angling down this way, it's angled out more. Although the width, let's see, it is approximately the same. It might be hard from the angle that you're seeing in the camera, but from what I can tell, it's basically about the same width side to side, but definitely the height is different. You can see this is definitely taller just because much taller this part of it. This is nice and low, and it still has a bit of an angle or rate going up, back a little bit, just enough. And I just like the overall look of this better. This just looks like as close, out of all the mocks I've seen, this is the closest one that overall has the details and everything that looks and feels the closest to what I saw in the original Clone Wars, you know, the cel-shaded animated mini-series that kicked off before the 3D one came out later. And I don't know, that was always a great 2-volume Clone Wars that I always liked. It was kind of simple, but they did quite a bit in there, and they did a lot of cool things here. And then they introduced like the V19 Torrent Starfighter, which I just got, which is pretty cool. But going back to this, so between the two, I like the way this looks, and I'm gonna stick with that. So the last thing I want to show is me taking basically these 3 elements, the Republic logo, the droid, and Anakin, and put it in the respective spots. And I'll show you how it looks like when that should be the complete look. The size, I will probably trying to remove the landing gears, especially in the back. You can see they're really in there. Might be a little bit tricky to pull out without moving other parts, so I might take my time to do that. This one will be easier to do. I mean, I could technically fold it up also, but I tried it and it doesn't really quite go up all the way, so I might as well I'm thinking just remove it. We'll see. I'll just show you. Yeah, because that dome, the ship bottom, whatever you call that rounded piece in there, is keeping it from moving any further up. So that's it. So that's not going to help much. So I'm probably just going to remove it too. But I'll just at least show you how this thing should look like with these 3 elements as basically the complete look in a moment. Okay, and there it is completed. Let me take this off the camera so you can, the stand, so you can get a better look. Sorry, it's always been mostly top view unless I brought it up close, but here it is. And here's what I was talking about, how close it is to the bottom, but it doesn't touch it. It's still have the gap underneath there, you can see. But it'll be on the flight stand, which should be okay. And just fits in there. Got the controls. They're not quite wide enough for him to hold, but good enough to look. And he just clears the top without any issues. It closes okay. And here's with the R2 or R4 unit. I think it's R4. So, and here is the Republic logo. And so I swapped it out, and yeah, overall I think this looks pretty good. I'm trying to get back here to show you the thrusters, but you pretty much seen what I showed you earlier. So yeah, I think this looks pretty good. I think that's the way to go. Gonna give this one to my kids and let them mess around with that. For parts, probably, I don't know, I might keep this in this form, but that's okay because I got one that I'm gonna keep. And yeah, I'll just figure out how to remove the landing gears and get this up on the flight display. I think that'll look better. Yeah, and well, I'm just thinking maybe I should I may potentially leave the landing gears on, because what if by some chance I decide I want to take it off of there and just set it down, and then it won't have really any way for it to sit on other than on the engines, which wouldn't be a good idea because it's going to create some stress across this part, especially where it's joined, and so the weight pushing down on that. The rest of it might be okay, but then it'll be probably resting on the wing tips too, if it's sitting flat enough, I can imagine, unless this is low enough to keep it off. But either way, I think we'll see. Think about this, because when this is on the display, for the most part, it's going to be kind of you see, it's going to be mostly seen I imagine kind of at this angle, more or less, not too much sideways. So you probably won't see the landing gears from this angle anyways when it's on there, and where I'm going to likely position this thing inside a display case. Unless I just really plan to just keep it on that stand forever and never take it off, and just never have it in a landed position on the landing gears. We'll see. Anyways, this is it. I hope this was informative. Oh, by the way, I do like also besides flat, I like the way this points out to a point more like it just follows this line more, versus this. It does, but then this seems to not point it enough compared to what you see in the show, and how the Jedi Starfighter should be more pointed like that. I think that's how I always felt and saw it as. So that's another thing that I think they got down here pretty good. And again, the stripe ends here. At least this one should go all the way here, though these should connect as well. But as they are overall closer looking than that. As well as I have some white decal vinyl. I may cut some custom pieces to just fill in, like right in here, like a triangular piece, whatever that might seem like I might fill up, and then add something that's some more white that bridges here and then across here, just to complete the overall look. Maybe, I don't know how. I'll see how I feel about it, if it's that important to really complete it. But that's how it should have been. It just should reach closer to the droid up as the center, spanning, what it spans out from. But we'll see. But yeah, I think if anyone doesn't want to spend as much as it costs for like a real one of these that's out there, I can imagine there's probably at least $200 or more at this point. And I think generally visually a better model, I would go with like this or one of the other ones. And whoever made this, again, I should have a reference to it in the description of this video, so you can check it out on Rebrickable at least. If not, go to AliExpress and try to see what they have there. This general model they made in several variations for other Jedis, and it's pretty cool. I mean, they'll all follow a similar build and style, which they should. I think they're, at least this generation with the Delta 7 style, before they transition, or I guess got the Jedi Interceptors, which looks more like a TIE fighter, right, with the way the cockpit is and the way the wings go like this, and it's much shorter. It doesn't have all this going as much in front. But I don't know, I like this. This is more dark-like, and it's from a particular era of the Star Wars Clone Wars series that I really like too. All right, that's it. Babble on long enough. Talk to you later. I guess the next one would be maybe Plo Koon's, which is a heads up. I bought an extra one. I already have one of these built. I don't want to cannibalize it, and it's small enough to still keep in form in a display case, So I wanted to keep one in its original micro fighter form, and then I'm going to take this and commandeer, of course, Plo Koon and the astromech droid head, and plop it onto the mock build that I'm going to do whenever that comes in. And the only thing that I don't have for that is it's surprisingly hard to get Republic, like a disc like this, at least on Rebrickable. You never know what the condition is. Most of them say that they're kind of scratched, or the sticker is put on not entirely straight. So I decided, it's that one that I got should have similarly like a blank a blank piece like this to replace or to stick something on. So I bought, I think on Brickable, some Republic logo stickers, and this would be great. I'll just pop them on here, and then I have an extra set for whatever other project I might need that, but then I can stick that onto the mock boat, and that's the only real thing that needs a sticker on the mock whenever I get it and complete it. Just a heads up. And I do have Lutheran Rails Fondor. Like, there's lots of mocks out there, and I found one that I liked that wasn't too crazy big, like almost UCS scale, and details and parts numbers. That would have been cool, and those can run from like 100 something, maybe 200, somewhere around there. But they're pretty big, and I'm trying to keep it. I don't think that I need it to be that big, and I found a good place scale size that looks about right in all where the details matter. So we'll see when that gets into. Hopefully it'll be complete and I can finish it on the first run. Otherwise, like this, if I need to find or replace parts, that are correct or missing, then that'll add some time to really fully complete it. But again, we'll see when that happens. All right, that's about it. Really done now. Thanks. Bye.